Subnautica is one of the single most unique and enjoyable games that I have ever had the pleasure of experiencing, regardless of genre. It is truly, truly special. It's a one of one game that is in a category of its own when it comes to creating an immersive underwater world that is somehow both highly unsettling and peaceful at the same time. The atmosphere within Subnautica is completely unmatched by anything else that I have ever experienced. And I know I'm not alone in feeling this way. Most people who have played through Subnautica in its entirety fully agree with this sentiment. This game is flat out exceptional. It sold incredibly well upon its release and is still super popular even over 10 years later. To contrast all of this, Subnautica Below Zero, which released in early 2019, was, well, equally as disappointing as its predecessor was incredible. It's not a bad game by any means, but to keep it short and simple, it failed to recreate the immersive and wondrous atmosphere that made the original game so amazing. So naturally, when Subnautica 2 was announced, the hype was through the roof. Anyone who loves the first game as much as I do can't help but get excited about the idea of another undersea adventure built with a bigger budget, modern technology, and all of the lessons learned from the first few titles. But unfortunately for us fans, the final stages in this game's development have become very, very messy. For those of you who don't know, Krafton, which is a large gaming publisher, acquired Unknown Worlds, being the original developers of Subnautica, in 2021. As part of this deal, Ted Gill, Charlie Cleveland, and Max McGuire, who are the three main creative forces behind Subnautica, were told that Unknown Worlds would stay largely independent during Subnautica 2's development. This seems pretty straightforward. A small and talented studio sells to a larger company in exchange for more resources to build their dream project and work towards their ideal view of what Subnautica should be. And for a while, things seemed to be going well between Krafton and Unknown Worlds. Development was moving steadily, and early access was set to release towards the end of 2025. Then, out of nowhere, Gill, Cleveland, and McGuire were fired from their positions and replaced effective immediately. Krafton claimed that they were let go because they had, quote-unquote, lost focus and were no longer effectively leading Subnautica 2's development. But a lot of people, myself included, believe that there is a very different reason behind this. When Krafton bought Unknown Worlds in 2021, they did not just pay cash up front, they also promised up to $250 million in performance-based bonuses to those three founders if certain milestones were hit before the end of 2025. And I can almost guarantee you that these milestones were directly tied to Subnautica 2's release and its corresponding revenue. So, if the game's early access launched at the end of 2025 as originally planned, it is very likely that they would have received this $250 million bonus in full. But now, with the game delayed until 2026 and the founders suddenly fired, that payout window is evidently completely gone. So, needless to say, the timing of this firing is very suspect and has led to the majority of people who are up to date with this situation siding with Unknown Worlds. I really don't know what Krafton was thinking here, and they've totally shot themselves in the foot by displaying this level of greed and carelessness. As a result of all of this, Gill, Cleveland, and McGuire are now taking Krafton to court, arguing that their firing violated the acquisition agreement that the two had come to, and that the company intentionally delayed Subnautica 2 to avoid paying them what they were owed, which at this moment in time definitely seems to be the truth of what happened. This court case is ongoing and has become increasingly more messy as time has gone on, and all we can do now as fans of Subnautica is just hope for the best for the original developers of the game. And honestly, as somebody who just cannot say enough about how much the original Subnautica has meant to me, this situation is just flat out depressing. To put things into perspective, the original Subnautica game was made on an estimated budget of only $3 to $5 million. That is absolutely nothing compared to most AAA games, which often cost somewhere between $100 and $300 million or even more to make. And yet, despite this excessively small budget, Subnautica became widely regarded as a masterpiece of a game and one of the most atmospheric, immersive, and memorable experiences ever created. To make this even crazier, it was built by a team of roughly 25 developers and was completely self-funded. And with these things in mind, it is almost impossible to believe that this game was able to reach the heights that it did. And this speaks to just how insanely talented these developers really are. So knowing this, the idea of a new Subnautica game set in the same world as the original and created by the same development team as the original, but built with nearly 100 times the budget of the original, sounds like something that has almost limitless potential. But instead of seeing this vision come to life, we are instead watching the creators of one of gaming's most unique worlds get pushed out of their own franchise before our very eyes. And as fans, this is so disappointing. But for Ted Gill, Charlie Cleveland, and Max McGuire, this is devastating. They deserve better, and I truly, truly hope that justice is served to them, not just so they get what they're owed, but so that they can continue building upon the world that they spent so much time and effort in creating. Because these three people gave us something that is so special with Subnautica. I really cannot put to words just how impressive this game is. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience that still stands unmatched, even after over a decade has gone by. Justice is what we deserve as the fans, and it is especially what Gill, Cleveland, and McGuire deserve for creating the greatest underwater survival game of all time. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Like, comment, and consider subscribing. I will be back with more content very soon. Goodbye.